Welcome to the Night Ktichen. I'm your host, Josh Urban, and we're here to answer a big question. Just how do you do astronomy? Plus, as always, we've got some shout-outs at the end of the show. Last week, we talked about meteors, so be sure to check out that episode if you haven't already heard it. This episode is brought to you in partnership with the Maryland State Library for the Blind and Print Disabled. Sit back and enjoy. Along the edge of the forest, a single porch light burns in the darkness. A hush has fallen over the land, except for the crickets and the lonely sound of a train in the distance. Still not sure if this is the house you are told about, you ring the bell. An energetic man bounds to the door and warmly invites you into the Night Ktichen.
Hey, come on in, the others are waiting.
The quirky group looks up and waves you to a chair at the rustic wood table. You sit down, and the man begins. Welcome back to the Night Ktichen.
Hey.
Did you know that I play guitar? That's me playing the music in the background. Hello. When I was a young fella, I decided that I wanted to learn to play music, but man, I was scared. Could I even do this? Tonight, we're talking about how to do astronomy, and if you're blind, you might be feeling the same way as I did when I was thinking of learning guitar.
Right.
Can I really do this? Spoiler alert, of course you can, but you probably already knew that. And even if you're an old pro at it, I've got a few tricks I think you'll dig, no matter your vision status.
Cool deal.
And also a quick why.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know about you, but for me, I often think of science as something that professionals in lab coats do.
Yes.
They might tell me some cool facts, but I feel like just a spectator.
Fun fact.
With astronomy, when I observe the sky and learn about the universe, I feel involved, and what a thing to be part of. And I'd like to involve you too. This is hands-on, man, and you're invited.
All right.
So let's get started.
Cool.
Something that just blows my mind about astronomy is this. The stuff is so far away, we'll never be able to visit it.
Are we there yet?
Well, maybe someday if you guys figure that out. So in the meantime, we've got to learn about it from a distance. Sometimes we use our eyes, sometimes we use our ears, and almost always our brains, hopefully, right?
Cap on.
Some of this stuff is impossible to see, like the inside of a black hole, and most of it is difficult to detect in one way or another. Astronomers are always using creative ways to make sense of the data they gather. Sometimes it's from visible light, other times it's from completely invisible things like radio waves, X-rays, gamma rays. That sounds like I'm making stuff up, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes it's even gravity waves, which are really weird, cool things with underground observatories to watch them, although that's kind of a loose term. They can find colliding black holes that way. There's other stuff too. The important thing to know is it's not all looking through a telescope. So to sum it up, astronomers gather data and interpret it. Sometimes they do this with light, other times they use sound, among other things.
Interesting.
And have you heard about this groovy thing they do called sonification?
No.
That's when they convert a photo to sound.
Oh.
Check out this clip.
Okay. What's that?
What is that?
Yeah.
Well, this particular one is a photo from the Hubble Space Telescope of a distant cluster of galaxies, each one containing perhaps billions of stars.
Whoa.
The guys over at System Sounds converted this to sound. What happens is there's a line that sweeps across the picture from left to right. And it's like a video, so it's a time-based, right?
Okay.
And any time there's a bright little blob, which is what these galaxies look like, a little cotton ball, it makes a little bleeping sound. The lower the sound, the lower it is on the photo. And the higher it is, the higher up it is in the photo.
Hi.
So, take a listen to deep, deep space.
Yeah.
And be sure to use your headphones.
Ooh.
Any little note is an entire galaxy with billions of stars. Listen to how many of them there are and how incredibly cool this is.
Rock on.
Those guys over at System Sounds have a ton of cool stuff, from craters on the moon to more awesome deep space pictures. So you definitely want to head over there. And their website is www.system, and then the little hyphen, sounds.com. So system-sounds.com.
Dash.
And here's the thing. Sometimes your ear can pick up on things that the sharpest eyes in the world might not notice. Professional astronomer Dr. Wanda Diaz Merced, hope I'm saying her last name right,
Probably not.
who just happens to be blind, says that sonification helps her notice things that her sighted colleagues might have missed.
Cool.
It's a different way to observe and a great way to bring new thoughts and ideas to the table. It's also beautiful, like music of the universe. I hope you'll dig it. Far out, man.
Groovy.
There's also radio astronomy. You might have heard of this.
Radio.
Radio astronomy plays a super important role in figuring out some of the strangest mysteries of the cosmos. Radio waves and light waves are both part of what's called the electromagnetic spectrum. A radio wave has a much longer wavelength than an optical wave, which is light, and a fun way to think of it is like this. A radio wave is a type of light wave that's wiggling so slowly we can't see it. Now, it's moving forward at the same speed as light that we can see, but the distance between each peak of the wave is a lot longer.
Okay.
So imagine this.
All
You've
right.
got a bus going at the speed of light. In one seat, you've got some blue light, and it's buzzing like a tiny mosquito that's had an energy drink. I've had some coffee right now, so I can relate.
Whoa.
The radio wave sitting next to it would be like a sloth after he drank some sleepy time tea. Hey, relax, man. We'll get there. Chill. They travel through space at the same speed, but have different states of energy. This is not a technical explanation, but I think it gets the point across nicely. And definitely check it out on your own too. There's lots of cool stuff out there about the electromagnetic spectrum. I mean, you can have many careers about that.
Make some money.
So stars and planets and all sorts of stuff emits radio waves too. As a matter of fact, back in the late 1960s, this lady named Jocelyn Bell was studying at Cambridge. She found a repeating blip in her radio data. They couldn't figure out what it was, and it was so regular, some people thought it might be from a distant alien civilization and jokingly called it LGM for Little Green Men. Turns out it wasn't, but she had discovered something new and awesome. It's from something called a pulsar, which is a neutron star spinning around super fast, shooting out energized jets at us, and we were detecting it with a radio telescope. More on that later, but the point is, radio astronomy is way cool and vital for some of the most serious observations, and something that you can get involved in.
Gnarly, dude.
Check out these radio sounds of the sun. You can even make a radio telescope yourself and listen.
Yeah.
Again, a simple Google search will get you started. But
On it.
what about those little green men?
Yeah.
There's SETI, or SETI, which is the search for extraterrestrial intelligence. So far, they haven't found anything, but they're listening.
Yes.
And if you're curious about it, check out seti.org for more info.
Cool.
The search continues.
Yeah.
Now, what about visual astronomy, stargazing? Of course, if you're sighted, there's lots to see by just going outside on a clear night and looking up.
Gold twinkle.
If you add a pair of binoculars, you can see even more.
Ooh.
They don't have to be expensive either.
Cha-ching.
My brother got a set for $12, and they were rocking.
Wow.
Telescopes can add even more fun, and they don't have to be as pricey as you'd think. One of my favorite resources for visual astronomy is Sky and Telescope magazine. They talk what's about in the sky tonight, have gear reviews and science news and the like, and I even write for their blog sometimes.
Cool.
Now here's a fun idea. If you're blind and want to do some visual astronomy,
Yeah.
team up with a sighted buddy.
Cool.
Their job will be to explain what they're looking at in the sky,
Over there.
and yours will be to explain what you're observing on planet Earth.
Over there.
And I know when I'm explaining something, I tend to take it in a lot better, so this is a really good arrangement. And remember, astronomy isn't just about what's far away. Can you hear any owls in the distance right here on planet Earth? Is the temperature falling? Is it gonna frost tonight? When I'm observing, I'm not just looking at something through the telescope. I'm trying to realize that I'm part of an incredible system, from the distant galaxies to the cricket, chirping right near my star charts. Listening and feeling plays a big part in appreciation of where we are in the cosmos.
True.
Now, what about theoretical astronomy? Quick,
fancy.
name me a famous scientist. Bet you said Albert Einstein, right?
Yeah.
This dude was literally a genius.
Genius.
Although, when he was 4, he hadn't spoken and his teacher said, he probably won't amount to much. Huh. Now, among other things, Al figured out one of the most important things in physics and astronomy, a way to really explain gravity, which he theorized was an actual warping of space.
What?
He did this while he was thinking, not at a telescope.
Thinking.
That's the subject of a whole episode, but check this. The story goes that one day he was daydreaming and had what he called the happiest thought of his life.
Eureka.
And he was at work, by the way. If
Hey,
a man
Al,
fell off a
get back to
building,
work.
he wouldn't feel anything until he hit the ground. Then he'd feel a lot, but that's another story. Maybe this was because he was following a curved path of space, and that's what gravity was. Could it be? It sure was an interesting idea.
Wow.
And I'm oversimplifying here for storytelling's sake, but hopefully this gets you curious to learn about his theory of general relativity, something that would change our view of the universe forever.
Mind blown.
The point is, this discovery is one of the fundamental truths of the universe, and it was done miles away from any telescope and had nothing to do with seeing anything. It's all in the mind, and this was a cool thing to realize. Not only can we do a lot with our minds, but many of the things we study have to be done by thinking.
True.
So how do you start here? Well, by learning a few things. For starters, pay close attention in math class. You'll need this.
2
Then,
plus
check out
2.
some cool YouTube videos. And I'll put some links in the description. Something that really caught my interest a while ago is a branch of study called quantum mechanics. Einstein actually hated this part of science and famously said, God does not play dice. Quantum mechanics has a lot to do with probability. Look into it and decide for yourself. Use that brain. It's the best instrument you've got for understanding the cosmos and furthering science. My grandma remarked to me once, man, there's a lot going out there in space, and she is right. They're always finding a new exoplanet, which is a world around another star, trying some new theory, or working hard at unraveling a strange mystery somewhere deep in space. Keeping up with the sky news is a fun thing to do. My favorite site for that is space.com, and nasa.gov is also an excellent resource. And again, if you'd like to read about visual observing, I write for skyandtelescope.org sometimes too.
Wow.
As you can see, there's a lot of ways that we can observe the universe. It's so exciting.
Yeah, man.
I hope this gives you a few ideas to get started.
Yeah.
Now, before we go, check out our calendar and a few quick shout outs. And how about those Leonid meteors last week? Did you observe any? I only saw one around 1:30 a.m. Wednesday morning, but I snagged a few early ones the Friday beforehand. The real star of the show, pun intended, was listening for them on livemeteors.com. New favorite way to observe them. I heard a bunch there. Check out episode 3 for more information about how to listen for meteors. And a quick shout out to Jimmy. He wrote me to say that he listened to livemeteors.com and heard a few of them himself. And Laura was wondering when the next big meteor event is, and that would be the Geminid meteor shower, peaking overnight, December 13th through 14th. Yeah. Calendar items, folks. Have you signed up for the NASA at My Library Reading Challenge starting December 1st? We are gearing up for the launch of NASA's James Webb Space Telescope, which will happen in December. Don't be left out. Sign up for the challenge on LBPD's Beanstack. That's marylandlbph.beanstack.org. Throughout the challenge, readers will have access to virtual NASA at My Library and NASA resources to gain new skills and explore educational and career pathways in Earth and space science. Check out additional space and astronomy resources posted on the LBPD's website. That is bit.ly/Night Ktichen podcast. Thanks for swinging by the Night Ktichen, and talk to you next time.